Yeah, the Crow especially. The Crow is probably the highlight of one of the most interesting characters in Destiny right now, and thankfully so, because he was hyped up. He was easily one of the characters people were the most interested in to see what's going to happen with this guy. That's been, I mean, he's one of the oldest characters in the Destiny universe. One of the first ever shown off when he was called the Crow back in the original supercut, and Old Jim was a big character, and his story arc in Forsaken made everyone a lot more interested, and so it's good to see that they're doing him justice. It took a while. There was a good 2 years of pretty much nothing. We got maybe one lore tab in a Dawning Ship, just the title. So just remember that Aldrin is still a character, but
still out there, still kicking.
The way they're doing him is impressive. Like his voice lines, the Harbinger and Hawkmoon missions, just seeing his little hidey hole, really. As we predicted that they would do, making you feel sorry for him and making you the way his redemption arc, which we said many podcasts ago, his redemption, you can just see so clearly, just everyone trying to slowly forgive him, and Osiris is helping him out, and it's only a matter of time before the moment that we all were waiting for is for the rest of Vanguard to notice him and see what happens when they realize that you're back, but you're a new character.
Right.
But
I've got to say this as well, because it's one of the times when very clearly and in such a brilliantly done way over the last season, they gave Crow an arc. He starts out as Spider's enforcer, who's kind of almost timid and is just sort of trying to hang on and make sure that Glint is okay, and is just sort of there helping out, and is really glad to be alongside a fellow Guardian, but he's kind of lost. And eventually, by the end of the Harbinger mission, when you complete it, and you get your alternate dialogue for it, you hear him saying, "I have a purpose now. I am a guardian, and I am a weapon of the traveler." And it's gone from this thing of, floating and adrift to, I have a purpose and I have agency and I've chosen this purpose. And you can actually see that development even in the Hawkmoon exotic quest, the first one before you do Harbinger, because he makes the commentary being like, I don't know how I feel about being something's cosmic plaything. I don't like it. And eventually, slowly, he comes to an understanding of what he's meant to be and what he is and what his destiny is supposed to be. It's a beautifully done job. And that's just over one season. But what I think Bungie's doing that's really good is they're very clearly taking Crow and they're pushing him as as something that is going to be a consistent pillar of storytelling throughout the year. And if they do that, that's going to be a fantastic thing, because you've got Crow in a position where he can eventually grow into the universe, and you can carry the story effectively with him. There are very clearly three pillars to the seasonal story, being Crow, the Hive story with Shiva, Arath, and Savathun, and the Darkness. And Crow being one of those pillars means that he needed a good story and a good arc, and they've done just that. It's really great stuff. Hats off to Bungie. Season of the Hunt may not have had great gameplay stuff. Wrathborn hunts may have been repetitive as hell and not really that engaging, but man, the stuff with Crow has been really good to see. Good job. Hats off.
Yeah, and it's a cool parallel, because meanwhile, the Guardians are delving into the darkness and messing with things they shouldn't. He is delving deeper into the light. So you've got just the complete opposite. It's kind of funny when you think about the Guardians are the big shining example of what to do. And it's what are the Guardians up to? Oh, they're on Europa just messing around with the darkness. And isn't that the entire enemy of Destiny, is to fight the darkness, the bad guys? And the Guardians are with them. And meanwhile, Aldrin, who was the previous bad guy, who was kind of, not part of the darkness, but definitely, wasn't a guardian, and now he's the good guy. It's just complete opposites, complete parallels. Do you think Crow is going to end up being the Vanguard, which we've talked about many times before? But what are you thinking about that? Do you reckon that's looking likely? Do you reckon it'll be the Hunter Vanguard?
I think that's all but guaranteed. And the reason I say that is purely because he's at the center of the operation right now. Him being one of
kind of is, already.
Right? Him being one of the 5 figures within this, the story, including us, Saladin, Zavala, Amanda, Osiris, and then there's him. It's one of these things of, not only is he filling the role of a hunter really well, not only does he seem like he's found his purpose doing it, but also the characters around him are learning to trust him. And, it's things like his conversations between him and Amanda, and whenever he's talking to Saladin, these are moments when they're going to slowly start to get to know his character, and he might either change their minds or he might be in this position where at least they will understand that he is truly a Guardian. And with that, there may come a day when he is forced to remove the face mask, and everyone will see, oh God, it is the resurrected Aldrin. And he's going to say, I know I did something bad. I don't know what it is, but trust me, I'm the same Crow you've always known. And when they hear that, that may be a point at which all of a sudden they realize that they can't trust him. And if you were sitting there having the debate of, is it Aldrin or is it Crow? They have probably, they will sat there and they will be exposed to that exact same debate in their heads right then and there. And they live in this fictional universe, like they understand more accurately than anyone that Aldrin is dead and that Crow is a person unto himself, That's what's really exciting, I think, is how that narrative arc is going to eventually unfold itself.
Yeah. And
how Crow is eventually going to take his place as Hunter Vanguard.
Yeah, it's definitely an identity narrative that Bungie's telling. I can imagine if I was to predict, probably some kind of scene where he ends up saving us, maybe this season with Keitel, where he ends up doing something heroic, saving us, a lot of people see and witness, and then everyone's like, oh, this Crow guy is a good character, and then he removes his mask, and everyone's like, oh, it's Aldrin. So you see him do something good, everyone is like, oh, we like this character, and then he's like, oh, surprise, I'm Aldrin, guy that killed Cade, but not really, because it's kind of different person. So that's the old me. So it's kind of proving that you can that he can turn a new leaf and become a new character, I guess.
Yeah. Bungie dropping Amanda into the story for this season and having her and Aldrin chit chat as much as they do.
Yeah,
that's a genius choice, because at the end of the day, she's going to be one of the major, of all the people to be affected by Cade's death. Cade and Amanda were really good friends.
Yeah.
She was physically angry when she wasn't sure about the fact that you or Petra had shot him. And she was like, tell me you shot him instead of Petra. In fact, I get it. Don't worry, I won't ask, but I'm just glad that he's dead, right? Amanda was one of Cade's closest friends. And if Crow convinces her and basically is just gets her seal of approval, that's almost a little bit like saying, yeah, as a general result, emotionally, we should be okay to touch these feelings and let them go. These feelings of anger towards who Aldrin was, because Aldrin's not there anymore, like that in itself is a really good choice. And I really hope they nail that one. Like, yeah, I really, really looking forward to any interactions they have, because obviously as time goes on, all the characters get new interactions to them. So yeah, it's really good.
That's a great point. I hadn't actually realized that, because I heard the dialogue of Amanda and Crow where he was again about the perspective thing. He was kind of like kind of sympathizing with the Fallen, saying, oh, like how can you be so mean? He's basically like, oh, how can you be so mean and brutal to the Fallen? Like I've eaten with them and they're not so bad, essentially. And she's basically, with her perspective, obviously the Fallen are bad guys, the Cabal are bad guys. So that was kind of interesting. But I hadn't realized that, yeah, she was a good friend of Cade. So them two talking is actually pretty funny. Yeah, I hadn't clocked that. That's interesting.
That's why this is so genius. It's just, yeah, I don't have enough good stuff to say about where this could go, because the potential foundations that they're laying here are really strong. I just hope that they manage to exercise them, which, I mean, in Season of the Hunt, they did a pretty good job. So I have a lot of faith that Season of the Chosen is going to, build on that narrative. It's going to go really well.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's like we say, the story of Destiny is good right now. It's definitely by far the thing I'm most interested in these days, just seeing where is this going, what the character's doing, who's what the interactions. Obviously, somebody who's been playing a very, very long time, the day-to-day, the gameplay, the activities, it's nothing new, so it does get a little bit stale, but the story, the story in Destiny will always interest me, just seeing what the character's doing, how it's unfolding, and only because they're doing a really good job with it. They're paying off things that we were wishing were a thing back in 2014 and 15. Like if we would have seen cutscenes like this, it would have blown our minds back then. So that perspective is not lost on me. Again, like I always say, the story is one of the strongest points. Although it doesn't do itself justice in highlighting itself with enough, I think, cutscenes and cutscenes and dialogue, but where it does show itself, it's very impressive, I think.
Absolutely.